I don't think we'll get this guy.
Okay.
Whoever it is, I don't think we'll get this guy for Sajami.
I don't know if we will get a guy or not, but I have just clicked to go live. So, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Mackem Football Show. You normally see us on a Friday evening. However, some big news at Sunderland has happened over Monday evening. We've had a couple of sleeps, and yeah, we've got to get the elephant out of the the tiny rabbit hat. I don't even know the phrase I'm trying to use here, but Tony Mowbray's been sacked just before the full festive period, the condensed fixtures. Was it the right time to go is ultimately our question. Time will tell with the answer. But yeah, welcome along. I'm on for Mackem. You can see everybody who's joined with me this evening. You've got David, who is here. He is, hello. An honorary Mackem, kind of. You're a Liverpool fan, but you've been here a lot. You've got Paul Wilson.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening. Paul is from RWA Productions. And Jacob, aka Yorkshire Mackem. Hello.
Evening.
Evening. Did you get your milk?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, good.
Now.
You returned with milk. To rare story. I'm not feeling that festive at the moment, so I want to take off my my lovely Sunderland hat and leave that to one side because, yeah, it's not a nice subject to talk about. A manager getting sacked after 3 horrific results, I think, and I think that's ultimately what done it. There was a couple of hay bales, but that was definitely the straw that broke the camel's back on the decision. You all right there?
Yeah, I'm good. Sorry.
That's all right. I thought my analogy was that bad there. I do have a poll live on here, and the question is, was it the right time? There's 6 votes in. We'll work out what the final answer is based on our discussion and the fans that pop in with their chat by the end of it. We'll do some arguments for yes and some arguments for no. So, on the yes camp, for it being the right time to release Tony Mowbray, if the pattern of results continued the way they were, we would have massively dipped and struggled throughout this period. I think that is an iron certainty. With getting rid of him and having a caretaker for a couple of games, there is a risk of that, but it might be freeing for some players to not have to be restricted as well. So, Paul, I'll go to you first. Do you think it was the right time to get rid of Mowbray?
Oh. I would say yes.
Why then?
Well, in a way, answer. I think the reason we've got rid of him now is because of the performances recently. Because I'm not sure if you are actually aware, but Jim White from Talksport actually interviewed Jack Clark after the Millwall game.
Yep.
And Jack Clark actually revealed live on Talksport that apparently Tony Mowbray did not apparently give instructions to the players actually after the Millwall game.
Well, at the end of the game, he didn't bother doing a debrief. That's really bizarre.
Jack Clark was saying, I think it was during half time.
Yeah.
Mowbray wouldn't give instructions to the players.
We'll talk a little bit about the players' reactions to the sacking, because I think that is a really, really strong point. I know there's obviously Bradley Dack, who is Mowbray's only signing. That is his request, who, let's face it, might not get any game time under new management if he is as second string to Pritchard as we think he is. But yeah, the thing is with Mowbray, I'm kind of tossed between it is the right time or it's completely the wrong time. I think results will pretty much tell on that from where I'm standing right now. I'm hoping one of you is able to convince me it is 100% the right time. Ultimately, we can't do anything about it, though. It's done. It's dusted. It's a semantic of a question, really. Like, he's gone. We can't get him back. Well, we could get him back, but I don't think it would be right. Yeah.
Because I was talking about this to Brad. Do you not think the club has decided to get rid of him now? Because if you remember at the start of the season, Christian Speakman came out and said they want to get top 2.
Yeah. I think top 2 this season is absolutely unrealistic for 99% of teams within this league.
Do you not think the club? Do you not think Speakman's thought Mowbray will not get us top 2?
I think he thinks he won't get us into the playoffs. Top two, I think, is unachievable for anybody other than Leicester, Ipswich, and Leeds. Pretty much, yeah. Like, those are the 3 teams competing for the top 2 positions. Last season, it was Sheffield United, Burnley, and Middlesbrough. And then towards the last couple of weeks, Middlesbrough fell off. I think, realistically, Leicester City are winning the title, and it's between Leeds and Ipswich Town to fight for that second spot. Ipswich are absolute, an anomaly with their current performance. So, yeah, we'll see how that pans out. But welcome along, Acacia, by the way. Sorry, I'm trying to get our initial thoughts out as well. Jacob, do you think it was the right time for Tony to go?
It is a hard one, because I do think, I mean, it was 2 games, but it still didn't change the formation. Like, he could have gone for 4-4-2 a bit more, but I'd have given him a bit longer. I know I might get my head bitten off for saying this, but I'd have given him longer, in my opinion. Because it's same old Sunderland, getting rid of managers. We're still in that side. It still feels the same old Sunderland, you know.
It does to a degree.
Right, when can we get positive news? When's that going to happen?
When we signed a manager, when we've made signings on the last day. There has been a general buzz around the club for the last couple of years. Yeah. So there is positive news sprinkled in, but the negative, it's the one that sticks.
Overflowing the positive. It's still overflowing the positives, you know.
It naturally will. It naturally will. So I think if you get 10 messages, 9 of them are positive and 1 of them are negative, you'd hang up naturally on the negative one. You could have 10 people saying you're doing a great job, but that one person saying you're doing a crap job will stick with you. So it's just natural. Like, it's easier to fight a negative than it is to, like, reinforce a positive. So I get that.
But you are right about buzz around the club. Like, things are a lot less depressing than what they were. I don't know, 5 or so years ago.
Yeah.
But
oh yeah, 5 years ago is a completely different era now.
Yeah.
It's just.
And we are in a better position. It's like financially, like you were saying before we started streaming, we're much better and secure and stable. So that's something we can still look at that, but. I think to Mowbray, yeah, I'd have given him longer, but I can understand why they've got rid of him, really.
Yeah, and I think we've said it on this podcast last week, a couple of weeks ago. We've been saying it for every bad run of results. Like, Mowbray's style, when it works, it's really, really good. We have the best free-flowing football I think Sunderland fans, a lot of newer Sunderland fans, some of the youngsters have ever seen. I think it was Bowers and the What the Fork podcast was saying, like, it's the best style of football Sunderland players have been playing since the Peter Reid era. So it's like there is that discourse of, well, if we're playing this creative, free-flowing football, why are we getting rid of the manager who's encouraging our players and making our players thrive in that environment? It's because when we are not hitting, it's so static. It's to the point where the players look completely disinterested in even turning up. And the only person who can make the players more interested in performing is the head coach, the manager, whatever their branding title is. The person who picks the players for the game has to get the best out of those players, and I don't think he was doing that towards the end. You could kind of see it in that post-match interview with Clark, but if you watch the post-match interview with Mowbray himself, there was hints. There was hints to he already knew what was going to happen. I was going to do a short on it and stuff like that, but I thought better of it because it's more speculation to it. Like, there is wording in there where it's like that we've had some of the best times with this club and like best football we've seen in years. We kept on trying, nothing really worked, but I think it does boil down to those last 3 games and lack of creativity and adaptability to the opponents that we're playing. I think for a club that has ambitions for promotion, losing against the teams just outside of the relegation zone is what, like I said, put the straw on the back of the camel. It had to happen. Insert plug for the name of the stream, by the way. Do you think that it is the last couple of results that tipped it over the line, or do you think it was going to come? It was just a case of when.
Oh, tough one, really, because it's probably like we knew it was going to happen anyway. Because 2 results, really. I probably lean towards 2 results, but at the same time, you sort of maybe knew it was going to happen anyway. Like, we knew he wasn't going to be here forever, but I thought if he were going to leave, he'd just retire. He won't get sacked. He won't.
Oh, his contract will run out.
Leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'd thought. How his time at Sunderland would end. But
have we?
When you got to go, you got to go.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to ask that. Have we ever had a manager who's had like a 3-year contract, 2-year contract, who's actually served the full amount of time? I genuinely can't remember a single time where a manager's been given a 4-year contract and that's actually lasted.
I think not that I remember. No. I know Bob Stoker was at Sunderland for a while. So
the only manager I can think of that may have left at the time they wanted rather than when we wanted. Well, obviously there's Sam Allardyce, but I think Dick Advocaat, he signed to the end of the season and he left at the end of the season. I think that was the last time we had a manager who left at their contract. Which is, if you look at it now, a bygone era. I'll just catch up on Acacia's chat as well. So she talks about the Millwall game. I'll talk about the Millwall game, the Huddersfield game, and the Plymouth game as a collective. There's a short on this channel if you want to watch it of the 2 goals from that. You have Luke O'Nine's stab over the line against Huddersfield and the 2-1 defeat, and you have Jack Clark's penalty, which is down the middle. It's kind of scuffed. The keeper dives over it. If the keeper like stood still for an extra half a second, he could have saved that quite comfortably. He just thinks he's trying to go for top bins, and it like goes underneath the left side of the goal. So a scuff penalty rescues a point in that Millwall game. But if you're looking at it as a collective, 1 point against relegation threatened teams, it's really not good enough. Even if you're challenging for playoffs, if you're challenging for top half, if you're losing against teams in that bracket, and we are 20 games into the season, they are teams that should be in that bracket. I think we're pretty comfortable in the quality in those squads, being as they are. Plymouth, because of that result, has started to kick up, but you can't say we are destined for the top 2 finish or playoffs even now, or to better where we were last season, and comfortably believe that long term if we're performing like we did in those 3 games. And I kind of felt like Tony Mowbray looked ill, but he could also look disinterested. It depends on how you had that perspective. It's I don't know. I think it's more of a shock to me that he's gone the way he did. There was hints and there was signs that it was going to happen. But yeah, like I said, I think we were harping on that change needed to come. Now, tactically, I think change definitely needs to come to end that striker crisis. What I think will happen when whoever we get into the team will be like, well, if your strikers are not scoring, let's get 2 of them on. It might be that simple. Because if they're performing at training, but they're not performing in games, it's down to how the games are set up, right? So, what do you think formationally we can do, and what kind of manager do we want to replace Tony?
I think formation-wise, I'd like to see 4-4-2 used a lot predominantly, but maybe some other formations as well. Were you just saying as well? Who would you like to see? Which manager?
Yeah, so managers are generally known for their formation styles, right? So with Mowbray, he was traditionally a 4-4-2 manager. He became a 4-2-3-1 manager with our club. If we get a 4-2-3-1 manager, are we going to continue on with the same vein of poor performances, or is it one of those ones where it's like a different manager has different tactics to roll out throughout the game? Like, is that 4-2-1-3 formation the perfect one for our current squad? Did Tony Mowbray pick his best squad and that was the best with what we've got, or does changing it up help now?
I think it can help if they're changing up, because you're going to get sussed out, aren't you? Look at Alex Neil.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure, but to be fair, Stoke have probably been sussed out, haven't they? Even though Neil keeps changing it. So I think maybe either way you get sussed out, won't you? It's just, I just think it's just on the day you just got to be playing well for the fans, but
yeah,
you still also got to get the formation right. But like I said, I think I'd like to see Will Still for Sunderland. You know, French guy.
Oh, the one on the TikTok clip.
Yeah, called. Is it Rems? Is that Rems?
Reims. Yeah.
The fifth in the. I know French league's different, but he can't be a shit manager, can he? If he's fifth
in the French top division. Yeah. He did say. I know there was comment of him looking to look at Premier League or English football clubs. Sorry, Acacia's just popped in the chat that Aston Villa have took the lead against Man City, and they have. The Bailey scores, and it's on the edge of the D. It gets a massive deflection. The keeper's diving the wrong way and ends up in the top right corner. Solid, well-worked goal. I've just pulled it up. So that's a bit of a shock to the Premier League. Aston Villa, I think, go top with that, which is insane. but I hate to talk about Aston Villa all that much. I hate to talk about Sunderland, Tony Mowbray, and new new potential managers. Yeah. And Dean, welcome along, says 2 wins from 9 is not good enough. Would expect a French-speaking manager. So he's backing your point there, Jacob, with Will Still from Reims. He literally, that clip of him switching between French and English is, I think, perfect for our squad, because we have, I think, 4 French people.
Yeah, I've got quite a lot, haven't we?
Yeah, we could literally just train French people. Like, I know, can you remember how, is it Wolves had the Portuguese invasion, and like nobody really knew how to work against them because they were all just speaking a foreign language.
I think when we're in Prem, I think most of our team will be French. Not that there's all wrong with that, or you get what I mean. Like, we'll be a bit like Wolves in a way, but French players. Well, not that, of course. Like, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Absolutely not. You get what I mean?
No, I get what you mean. Like, you have clubs that have waves of players. Like I just said, Wolves there. But another good example would have been Arsenal back in the early 2000s with French players. Like, it does help sometimes having that code and that language that you can pull back on. But before we talk about our long-term future, we need to know who it's going to be. Who do you think it's going to be, Paul?
Well, I actually reckon it could be this guy that's coming over to speak to Quillo Dreyfus tomorrow.
Kim Hellberg.
I think it could be.
Is that the right one?
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah. But like you said, didn't you say just because he's gone to an interview, it don't mean he'll be next guy?
He's got to pass an interview. He's got to pass the interview. So I'm just going to turn you down because I think your volume is double what it should be. So let's fix that. What do you know about Kim Hellberg? Because I literally, other than the odds better, I can't really say much about most of these. I can speak about Will Still from that Twitter clip, that TikTok clip, because I was quite interested in that. Paul Heckingbottom, who's just left Sheffield United. Dean Smith, who was obviously really, really good in the Prem. John Eustace, Graham Potter. We do not want Steve Bruce. I don't think Kevin Phillips is ready for the Championship, although he is obviously a Sunderland legend. Frank Lampard I don't think he's a good enough manager in general. There's just loads of names here, but who's your preferred one, shall we say?
Anyway, it could be anybody, but this one that's coming to speak tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I've looked at some of these formations actually, because I've just found on the website.
Yeah.
Most of it's actually a three-man midfield. 4-2-3-1 is the most common system of record, followed by 4-3-3 and a 4-1-4-1 basic system.
Right.
That actually plays really.
So it says on here on Transfer Market, if you're looking at his preferred formation, it says 4-3-3 attacking. So that is essentially what we are currently used to, right? Like I said, beyond that, I don't really know much about him. He's managed some teams in the Swedish leagues, but beyond that, like I said, it's not really somebody I've had a long-term history with, and that might be a good thing for us, because if we're looking at somebody who's completely left field, young, inspiring manager who's more closely aged to the players that he's supporting, I think he would still be older than every single player at Sunderland, but at 35, yeah, like it doesn't go against our model to have a young manager, because in youth we trust, I think, is our in our current mantra, right? Clarky90, welcome along. It's the best time to get rid of a manager with plenty of games still to play, but is it the right decision? I don't know, and that's what we're here to discuss as well. Like the choices, the odds-on favourite, by the way, is a chap called Julian Sable. Now, again, I don't know much about Julian Sable. He looks like he's the current manager of Nice. Is he the one that
assistant? He's the assistant of that Italian guy we were rumoured with in around the summer after the season, end of last season.
Yeah, and it looks like he used to manage Saint Etienne. He managed them for 6 games only. Had a negative 12 goal difference, 2 draws and 4 losses. So his actual professional management career is not great. As like the interim managers, if that makes sense. But maybe this is his first proper club, first chance. I just think we've got to get the right person for fitting our current players, and somebody who speaks French would be a good thing, but also it's not necessary to have, if that makes sense. Tony Mowbray didn't speak French, didn't speak Ukrainian, didn't speak Portuguese, but I don't think that should, like, the languages you speak shouldn't be a major factor in the decision. It should be how well you can develop our young squad.
So the thing is, even Stephen Schumacher's been mentioned. The Plymouth Argyle manager.
Yeah. Who's that?
It's Stephen Schumacher.
Oh, he's the third favourite. He's the third favourite, yeah.
Yeah, he's the Plymouth Argyle head coach. The one that we've already played this season.
The one who beat us 3 games ago, 2 sacks. To get this, to start this sacking of Tony Mowbray. What's his stats like? 105 games, 56 wins, 20 draws, and 29 losses with 53.3 win percentage. That's pretty good going. Why would he leave his current club for us? I know we're a bigger name, but aren't they on like their best form in their history with him?
So it'll be interesting as well because the likes of Lee Carnsley's even been mentioned. He's currently the under-21
Who's Lee
manager
Carnsley?
of England.
He's not on my list, and I have a list of about 70 people. Do you want to know the three worst people on this list in terms of odds? Stefan Schwartz, Chris Brown, and Paulo Di Canio. Some people just throwing a name out there for the sake of it sometimes, right? Lola, can you stop snoring, miss? Very loud. Very loud. Yeah. I don't know if it's productive, though. Like, we've got to, I think, get the right man in charge. How we decide that, we as fans can't. I think it's ultimately down to the first couple of results. Now, what we have a problem with, if we do get somebody in, how many games do we back them before we say they need to win? Because we know these players are capable of winning, right? It's not like they're not talented enough. I think they just need the right tactics on the game to beat the opposition. Reverting back to more of a management style that Alex Neil had, with actually learning how the opposition play and coming up with a tactic that beat them, rather than us have a flat tactic that we don't change from. I think that would help us longer term, right? Or am I kind of speaking waffle there?
I think for me, I wouldn't be surprised if the club actually decided to look at John Eustace.
Yeah, he's on that list. He's on that list.
Yeah, with the links with Christian Speakman, because John Eustace was at Birmingham before they got Wayne Rooney.
Yeah, and he had a good history. Like his record, he was in the top 6 with that Birmingham squad. So yeah, I understand that. Also, wouldn't it be somebody that, like, I know Bellingham played under him obviously when last season, so it's not like he's learning every single player. He learned a lot of new players, but like he's already coached one of our shining stars. Is he going to drop Bellingham because he didn't like him there, or what's the deal with that if we do choose Eustace?
We'll never know, really. But it'd be interesting what Proctor and Dodds do this weekend.
Yeah. Now, when do you think the decision to replace our manager needs to be made by?
Well, it's interesting because they've only give well, as far as I'm aware, they've only give Dodds and Proctor Saturday's game at the moment. Anyway, they haven't given them later game yet.
Which is it Tuesday or Wednesday next week? Wednesday.
Tuesday.
The Tuesday evening.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Should be interesting. Acacia does add, by the way, and it's been a couple of minutes since she added this. I honestly don't want Paul Heckingbottom at Sunderland. He hasn't had a great time in the Premier League with Sheffield United, but I don't think he's equipped to manage Premier League level players and opposition. I think in the Championship last season, he clearly knew what he was doing. So I know you say you don't want him, and recent form in the Premier League is kind of trodden the image of Paul Heckingbottom with the Sheffield United fans, but he actually got you promoted. Villa just hit the bar. They should be 2-0 up against Man City. Wow. Yeah. Acacia says, I want Will Still as our new manager. He sounds amazing. The way he switches from English to French, it's proper funny, that video, what they saw on Twitter. Yeah. We've kind of mentioned him on and off. We don't even know when Rushin is coming back from injury, as well as he's done his groin. Groins I think they can be fine in weeks. It depends on if it's a tear or a strain. So we'll see with Rushin coming back. What I don't want is what I don't get is why Job didn't come on the pitch in the second half on Saturday. And when I was at the game, I was like, man, he's warming up, but he isn't coming on. What's the point in that? So I will make one final point on Tony Mowbray. And the thing that I think kind of might have been a catalyst for him leaving the club. We had a sub in the 53rd minute, 54th minute, which took off. He took off our striker, I think it was Burstow, and we replaced them with midfielders. Then it took until like the 74th minute for another striker to come on the pitch in Hamir. So we were without a striker on that pitch for 20 minutes. Now, if you've got a striker confidence crisis, and you're never picking them, and you're literally not giving them game time, how are they ever going to score? So I kind of feel like that is, I think, a really good battle point for them to disagree on for that post-game sacking. Because obviously it's 2 days later that they've announced that they've parted companies. They've had time to think about like the extra bits of issues they have with Mowbray's style, and I think ultimately for me, to answer the poll and to see what the poll result is, was it the right time for Tony Mowbray to go? Ultimately, I'm saying yes. Let's see what the poll says. 82% are saying yes, it was the right time. So if 82% of fans are saying it on this very biased conversation so far, it kind of feels like it was the right time. There is other polls around that sway towards the no, but I think based on how the team were performing, it's a yes. Now, we're half an hour into the stream, lads, and we haven't even spoken about the FA Cup tie. Do you by chance know who we're playing?
Scumbags.
That's up the road, isn't it?
I don't know. It sounds like that's the right team, but I don't think that's their official name.
CUNTs.
No. It's not them. I mean, it might be that some of them, but no. Sunderland are playing Newcastle. I think it's on the 6th or the 7th of January, depending on agreements with the football, like broadcasting, with the BBC and the policing around it as well. Because I think if there's ever a broadcast, so it's the 6th.
Yeah, it is.
If kind of announced some ticket information today on it.
I was thinking if there's ever a broadcast of an FA Cup tie that needs to be on the BBC, it's this one. Like, who else? If you've never watched a rivalry between two clubs, I've just watched Sunderland versus Newcastle. I don't know if on the pitch is going to be insane, but the entire atmosphere, the world around the Northeast just completely shifts that entire week, that entire month, and even that year. So if we play Newcastle and we perform decently, I'm okay with any result. If we go in there and we drop our heads like we did against these last 3 opposition, that's when I'm going to get worried. Jim's just popped into the chat as well. Sorry, I think we might be a little bit of a time sink. Tony Mowbray didn't need the job, but took it because it was a perfect fit. I wonder if replacement by Firoli, rumours likely true. Spoiled around soured his attitude towards management. So that was a summertime. That was a summertime rumour. I might have spin critical comments about recruitment players, and well, to be fair, he didn't like Luke O'Nien towards the end either, which is really weird. But yeah, sorry, we're playing the Mags. What are your thoughts on the game for the Mags then, lads? Are we excited? How are we feeling? What's our chances?
Both nervous but kind of excited at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we probably might lose, to be fair, but saying that, it's the FA Cup, isn't it? And really, we're at home. I mean, yeah, it doesn't mean anything, but you know, when I've watched cup games as a neutral, on TV, and it's usually and the underdogs at home. Sometimes the underdogs seem to win when they're at home in cup. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, and plus Newcastle, they might want to rest players. They might not want to focus on cups. They might just want to focus on staying in the top 6 in the Prem.
I think the cups for Newcastle are the most likely way for them to get trophies this season.
Yeah, but and but their injuries are not great either. They've
Well-
got quite a lot of injuries, so and they're bound to pick up more before the FA Cup in and around that time. So I know
But so
people
are we,
might say I'm
though.
deluded, but
It's going to
But
be
I think-
interesting.
you never say never, do you? So you can't just automatically say, "Oh, we're going to get smashed by the Mags." You don't know that. It's still a long way to go.
Yeah, I think I know this sounds like a really bizarre thing, but the reason I think Newcastle, I don't think Newcastle will win. Number 27 is my lucky number, and that was the number that Newcastle had. I was like, that's a weird omen to have. So I just felt like it was the draw itself, obviously completely random. But I don't know, like the way we've just sacked Tony Mowbray, we've got essentially 6 weeks and maybe 8 games between now and then for this new manager to settle in, to find out his form. I don't think we can confidently say going into that game that we have a style of play that we're concrete on, that we're going to go up against, which might be in our favour because, like you said, with the FA Cup ties, sometimes it's the unknown that gives that surprise. Premier League opposition have lost random teams throughout the league, throughout the pyramid. You said before the stream they lost to Cambridge United one year against in the FA Cup third round, didn't they? So it's like
Newcastle, yeah.
Yeah,
I think it was the third round, but they did, and it were at St James's Park as well.
Yeah, and I think
actually, I watched that one.
so. Maybe that's why. If you watch this game, they lose. Every FA Cup tie you watch with Newcastle in it, they lose. No,
But this game, I'm actually going to.
Well, you're definitely watching it then.
Oh yeah, I'll be sitting my head off in the ground.
I think it's going to be one of the best games a lot of fans will see for at least this season, because obviously the rivalry's there. This dog is snoring so bloody loud. I hope it's not coming through on the mic. I don't know. What do you think of the game, Paul?
To be honest, I wasn't expecting us to actually draw them.
Isn't it a 1 in 120 or is it 1 in 64? I can't remember at that stage. I think it's a 1 in 64 chance.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I know because I was listening today that Matthew Racebeck from Radio Newcastle asked Eddie Howe actually what he thinks of the game.
Right.
And, he's buzzing that that he's actually got us. So.
And to be fair, I understand why they would be, because it's the perfect chance for Newcastle, if you look at it, to correct their recent record against us. If they don't, everything that they've done, the acquisition, the purchasing of players for nearly 200 and 300 million, whatever the actual value of their current squad is, all means nothing if you still can't beat us. So you can say, oh yeah, we're in the Champions League, you've never seen a Mackem in Milan, all of that banter. But if you still can't beat us, what was the point of it all? you still think you're the bigger club, but if you can't beat us, it's kind of embarrassing. But if we lose, we've got a line of excuses we can already use, right? And some of it will be excuses, but we're in the league below, so we haven't got the investment that they currently have. We're the underdogs in this situation because of that gap. We're trying to climb back to the Premier League level quality. We haven't had the cash flow that's been injected. We do have a billionaire owner apparently, but we haven't spent more than, I think it's 3 million on a player in the last 5 years, and they spend that on their worst player. So it's kind of, I think we are the underdogs. We're in the league below. We've got that to back us, but still, they haven't beat us in over a decade. So we've got that.
Whoever this, whoever our new coach is,
yeah,
it'd be interesting actually what team he actually puts out for that cup.
Yeah, I'm just reading Larky's and Jim's comments here. Someone said to me, every time we've sacked a manager before a derby, we've won. So there's a good omen we can use on that. Imagine if that was the caveat. We've got to like have a new manager every 6 months when we're in the Prem to play them. And then Jim goes, hope the horses have arms protection if they lose. No animal cruelty is endorsed on this channel. And for those of, I don't know how you'd not know this, but the Geordie who punched the horse was at a Derby Day game. So yeah, there's that. Acacia also adds,
how long did he get? How long was he arrested for?
He was prisoned for 6 months, so I think it was suspended. So he didn't actually go into prison. He just got a prison sentence that he didn't actually have to go in for. He was under like,
lucky bastard.
He was under probation, really, on it. I think I don't know, but I think he's apologized on the media numerous times because it's his reputation now. But Acacia says he honestly that was crazy when the ball number for Newcastle came out. I was like, oh, for God's sake, here we go. I'm excited for that game, though, against the Mags, but can see us getting battered, to be honest, with the players they've got. Like Anthony Gordon, I think he will be embarrassed by us. But Callum Wilson and Bruno, I think will have our midfielders' numbers. It's whether we will have a hard time breaking past Ballard. For me, it's all about who Ballard's defensive centre-back partnership is with. And by the time that game happens, I don't think it should be Luke O'Nien. Luke O'Nien in that game will get a red card. It's as simple as that.
You know who I've put up with him for that game, because I've been thinking about this actually when that draw happened.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I'll put Jensen Selt up with him.
You want somebody with a level head, right?
Yeah.
And I know we want passionate players on the pitch. Get them further up the pitch where it matters a little bit less if we lose the ball. We can't have it as our centre-back. I know it's going to be a feisty game. There's going to be rough tackles flying in left, right and centre. It is literally going to be the proving ground for a lot of our players being put down into our history. I was talking with one of my colleagues who's a Villa fan, by the way, and I think he'll enjoy that. That result with against Man City at the minute. About like derby days, because obviously he hasn't really had a derby day with Birmingham City for a while. And he was like, well, haven't you got a really good record against Newcastle? Then he pulled it up and went, whoa! Yeah, like it surprises him that Newcastle haven't beat us in that long. And he's like, can you remember who scored these goals? And I was like, yeah. Boom, 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 boom. He's like, who scored in your 3-0 win? And I went, oh God, why'd you bring that one up? It was AJ, the one that nobody really likes anymore. Billy Jones and Stephen Fletcher. And I was like, you can just reel off these people because they've scored against the Mags. So anybody who scores for Sunderland against the Mags in this FA Cup will literally just be down on the record books as one of those club legends, I guess. Who's going to be that person? Could you imagine if it was Hamia or Rushin? One of our new strikers who haven't scored all season. This 20-game streak, or it'll be 27 game if they don't score between now and then, and they score their first goal against the Mags. They'd be instantly like heroes. They've got to be, yeah, they become instant heroes. So got to bear that in mind as well. Like it's a battleground, but it's also a proving ground for our team.
If the names for that game, who would you put in goal? For me, I would put Patterson in goal.
No, Pickford.
Pickford?
Get him back. I think Everton are trying to sell him on. Or something. Yeah, no. To be fair, there's 6 days in the transfer window that we could actually sign anybody if we really, really wanted to, like desperately for that game, and we could sell them on the game after, right? We could have a one-player game.
But yeah, in goal that game, I would put Patterson.
Are you allowed to do that, by the way? Sign a player for one game?
Emergency loan.
Emergency loan, yeah. Could we emergency loan? Like, I know Amad Diallo's been popped up loads, but like, could we emergency loan Amad Diallo for just that Max game? I don't know. Actually, Jim, your sentence has popped off there. Jacob.
Yeah.
What would you do? Who do you think is most likely to score for Sunderland in that Mags game?
I don't know. Probably Clarkey.
Do you not think they would know how to manage Clark?
That's the thing, though. I mean, I think you're right. Yeah, it's just. I mean, Hamia, because it would be fun to see Hamia get his first goal Sunderland against the Mags, but I think he'll score before then, probably.
Yeah.
Same with Meander and Russian. So, but, I just want 7 in a row, man. I just want 7 in a row.
Well, we have to. There would be the start. I mean, we're undefeated in 7. So that's interesting.
Why did we have to draw fucking Newcastle? Could we not have drawn a 3rd division side just have a good cup run?
No, I really rated. I really rated. I'm excited for the FA Cup for the first time in a very long time. Sunderland over the last decade or so, maybe even 15 years, have had, I think, one spell where we've got through to the 5th round. It's been pretty rough going in the FA Cup. We never really care about it that much because we win one game, maybe 2, and then whimper out against the likes of Liverpool, Chelsea, Man U, that kind of thing. It's just, I don't know. And also, we haven't played the Mags in the FA Cup since the 50s. So I think
and we beat them. We beat them the last time we played in the FA Cup, 2-0.
Yeah, but I don't think many of our fans' parents were even alive at that stage. So it's yeah. You can only play for 2 teams per season. Yeah, but you can go back to the same club. Ahmed Diallo hasn't played for any club yet, so you could come to us for one game.
Go against the Mags.
Go against the Mags and then go to another team. After that. But yeah, irrespective, it's just a nice little giggle we have there.
I just pictured, Lord, that game. Anybody the likes of, I don't know, but like say the likes of Jermaine Defoe and all that, they'd be up in the stand.
I mean, could you not? I'm just thinking it's going to be a really, really interesting time for the Northeast. I kind of feel for the police that week because they're just coming off a horrible holiday season. It's going to be a cold, dark evening. People are going to be absolutely sloshed. There's going to be fights everywhere. It's just, chaos. It's easy. I think it's slightly easier to manage in Sunderland because obviously the Stadium of Light is not within the city centre. People can't just spill out into the shops. They have to walk about 15 minutes across the bridge, and I think they can contain it at the bridge. Essentially, that's what I'm getting at. They can usher all the Newcastle fans towards the train station and block them going north. You know what I mean? It's much more manageable in Sunderland. If it's in Newcastle, it is purely everywhere within a 1.5 mile radius is just chaos. Anywhere from the train station through to St James's Park is madness. So yeah, I think
to be honest, for that game, I think the police boys do what they've done for the Middlesbrough game,
which was
the Middlesbrough fans were. Because the police actually put a special train on from St. Peter's Station.
Yeah.
So they all got off there. They all got escorted from there. Actually round to the away end by the police.
So that's the one by the bridge itself, isn't it? It's not the one in the city centre. It's not the one by the Tesco. It's the one just before the bridge.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, like I said, much more easy to manage around that side of it, I think. But yeah, that's where I think we're at with that. We have a couple of extra minutes if we want to talk about it. This weekend we are playing West Brom. By the looks of it, you said there is caretaker managers lined up to take that on charge if we don't find a replacement for Tony Mowbray in that interim.
Yeah, because in the club statement on Monday. The club revealed that Mike Dodds will take the game against West Brom.
So Mike Dodds is, I think, our backup manager, right? He's I'm trying to think. Oh, okay.
Mike Dodds was part of Mowbray's backroom team.
Yeah, that was it. But he didn't leave with him because I know there was some of his backroom team that left with him as well. So yeah, we do have somebody in charge who's teaching who's coaching how he wants them to play this weekend. So it's not like we're completely in the lurch. It's a caretaker manager. He's been assigned. He knows what he's doing. They're getting trained up now for that game plan, which might be continue on from what Mowbray said, because he is, like you said, Mowbray's legacy backroom staff, I guess, coach, whatever you want to call it.
Well, in a way, Hans, I actually hope Dodds is better than he was the last time, to be honest.
Funny you said that, because Dean's just popped in. Dodds was rubbish last time.
He was.
Dodds, Sunderland, if I pop that in. Mike Dodds, Sunderland. Let's have a look at his Wikipedia, because that's pretty much how I find out about everybody these days. He's played 2 games and lost 2 games in the February 2022 one. That's when I started my YouTube channel. So that was, and it's not when I started. That's when I started to grow on this YouTube channel. It was Lee Johnson leaving. I went on holiday and I was like, "What's happening?" We lost the 2 games, and then Alex Neil was assigned. That was that period.
Yeah, because Mike Dodds took those 2 games.
Yeah, they were horrible games, weren't they? Was it like Peterborough and somebody?
Yeah.
Who was it? It was two terrible games in that period. Doncaster Rovers. And I can't remember who else, but like, yeah, it was not a great time. So yeah, bring back Bally. Kevin Ball was a good caretaker manager. Quinn was an all right caretaker manager, to be fair, as well. But again, not a long-term solution. I think the best thing for this club, for this fan base, is before that game, announce who it's going to be. Allow them to just watch, or get every single candidate who's in the top of the list to come to the game and watch, and tell them how they would react to these. It is at the Stadium of Light, I believe. This West Brom game.
Yeah, it's at home.
And then we are playing at home again on the 12th. So this weekend it is a 12:30 kickoff. I am unable to make it because the night before is my work dues Christmas party, and I will be unavailable, otherwise engaged, shall we say. So unfortunately, the watch along for that game is not going to happen on this channel. There is other channels that are doing it, so please keep an eye out for any directions that I point out if you want to do that watch along. But do you fancy our chances against this West Brom side, considering they are currently, I think, 5th?
I don't know. I'm not so sure. I won't be really too surprised if we lose again.
I think, to be honest, player caliber wise, we're on par with them. They have obviously a half decent squad. They've come into form. They had a rough couple of weeks at the start of the season, but they found their consistency. They are a beatable team. They have struggled against a couple of teams this season, but they have beat a team above them in Ipswich. They only got a 1-0 win against Sheffield Wednesday. They drew like us to Millwall. Like, I think the biggest surprise is in week 5. That is the Huddersfield beat them 2-1. You know what I mean? Like, they throw up shock results every now and again. Maybe us without a manager might be another one of those. So fingers crossed for us. I think I'm being quietly optimistic with that one.
So it's interesting because their manager done their press conference earlier.
I hate when they do it 2 days early, you know. Well, in this case, it's 4 days early. Why?
Do you not think because of the travel up here for them?
It doesn't take 4 days to record a 10-minute video. It is.
He maybe wanted to do it low when the media is available.
Well, everything he says now anything he said before now is as less relevant as what I'm saying. So we could have a new manager, we could have an appointment, we could have like that manager saying, "I really think this player for us would be our focal point." He could say, "I want to focus on Job Bellingham and his career first, and everybody else around to grow around how Job thrives," or whoever that he picks out. It could be completely different. And I think he says, "Oh, we like We like a more attacking style of football. We like a defensive style of football. Everything he says, he doesn't know because we haven't got that manager in place. So if you're doing the press conference 4 days early, you can't react to injury news. You can't react to the current squad. You can't react to anything. It's just, hi fans, I like my team. I think we're going to win. Hope you do too. That's as much as he's going to get out of those press conferences that early. You not think? Am I like, again, am I speaking waffle on that point? Like, I think press conferences, anything up to 24 hours ahead of time is relevant. Anything beyond that is just complete.
It's best to do it. Best do it maybe the day before, or maybe even 2 days at best. But like 3 or 4 days before is a bit, But I guess it gives them time, doesn't it?
Let's predict the future. Do you know what the weather's going to be like in 4 days?
No, it's England.
Exactly.
You know
what I mean? You could be like forecasting to play a team on a dry pitch, and then turns out it's chucking it down, or it's snowing, it's icy, and your team completely falters because you don't know the conditions, you don't know half the things you should do when you're gearing up. If you know you're going to go onto like a really wet, slippery pitch, you might be more defensively minded. You might want to go a long ball. Like, press conferences need to be sooner to the game. 4 days is stupid. Sorry, that was a mini rant at the end, but I just think that's absolutely daft. Paul, do you agree?
Yeah, I agree, mate.
Cool.
To be honest, I don't even know when Dodds is actually doing the press conference for us. Actually,
I don't think you should. I don't think you should. You should do a post-match reaction, and that's it. Because the more he says, the more it might put off our potential candidates for his for the Mowbray job. Do you know what I mean? If he says we're struggling, if he says this player's not great, then that might take off one of those players who want that person fit. Like, if we're using Jewison Bennett, like, I want foreign talent to thrive at Sunderland, which seems to be a part of our model, and that pees off Jewison Bennett or pees off somebody else. Like, you just got to be very careful with press conferences with the man who's not going to be long term in charge. So I don't think you should do one.
Yeah, but do you not think the media will want to ask those questions? Not the situation, the manager's situation, but like updates on the team.
Yeah. So
for example.
Yeah, no, I get that, but like, can you remember when at the second game of the season or the third game of the season, the press were briefed by 4 different people. And they went in and said, look, we don't know. The recruitment window's over, isn't finished. We haven't got strikers yet. And then the first question is, so how do you feel about your striker situation? And Mowbray just laughed and looked at him, just like, see what I'm talking about? This is all they're talking about. So, like, you can tell the press to, like, ask certain style of questions or, like, what he can actually answer, but they'll ask whatever they think the fans want, which is absolutely fine. Like, press, do your job, but, like, I don't think it's going to be productive for anybody involved. Like, what does this guy actually know about our long-term future? He'll ask about who's lined up for the replacement. Who are you going to start today? Why did you pick them over other players? Like, you can maybe answer those last 2 questions, but doesn't mean anything really. So, I don't know. Press conferences are a funny business.
I can see where you're going from with that because, from what Nick Barnes was told, apparently the reason why the club decided to get rid of Mowbray was because Nick Barnes said apparently that somebody told him that Mowbray wanted to play Dak and Pritchard actually up front. And apparently Mowbray was told by the club to actually play the strikers.
Okay. That makes sense. It does make sense. So he's not doing as he's told, and yeah, okay. I don't know how to read it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's interesting. Anyways, right. I want you for us to end this stream with your preferred manager choice. One name, no reasons behind it, just the person. Jacob, go.
Will Still.
Will who?
Still's my pick.
He's still
Will
picking.
Still.
Are you still picking Will still?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So, it's not fun.
It is funny. It's funny. I'm trying to be funny. My humour's very dry, very dad. But yeah, there you go. Will Still. Sorry.
It's as dry as a lamppost. It's as dry as a lamppost.
I mean, yeah. Okay. Acacia's agreeing with you. Will Still for her. Paul.
Thank you, Acacia.
Well, for me, I know we're not going to get him, but I'm going to say Kieran McKenna.
Okay. I'm going to say somebody that we haven't mentioned at all so far this stream, and I really struggle to say his name because I just don't know how to say his name. But you'll all know who I'm meaning when I say it. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Former Man United manager.
Former Man United, former Cardiff manager, former Man United player. He's been around the blocks. He knows the Championship. He knows foreign players. He knows the Premier League. I think he's a really good long-term option for us, rather than just to the end of the season. Sorry, I did say don't give you a reason, but that's me for me. And Dean says ex-Chelsea manager. I'm gonna guess Frank Lampard.
He's probably on about Graham Potter.
Graham Potter, Frank Lampard, Jose Mourinho.
I don't want Lampard. That's one manager.
I mean, yeah, there's Lampard and Gerrard as well, but I think Gerrard's having a good time of it at the moment, so he's off the cards. But yeah, if you were listening back to this, by all means, let me know who you want as the replacement for Tony Mowbray in the comments. But until next time, see you next week. Enjoy the game against West Brom. Bye-bye. Potter. He said Potter. He said Potter.